Kia ora peeps, this is Robert E.T. This is my first show ever, my intro show, so for you listeners out there, welcome along to the show. Hopefully you're enjoying your day or night, depending where you are in the world. So today's show is just going to be an intro show. I haven't quite figured out a good slot time for each week when I'm going to be broadcasting, but at this time just going to be doing an intro show and pretty much what the show is going to be all about. I mean, number one, the show's going to be alternative, so a lot of things that you are going to be hearing is going to be alternative media. We're not going to... we'll be also covering mainstream subjects as well, from an alternative perspective. It's going to be good. And, hopefully eventually build it up to a suitable platform and to get people on the shows too. To all your what can I say? It's going to be great. Some of the alternative things we're going to be talking about is alternative medicine. So that's one of the first subjects out of many that's going to be talked about, but we're going to mix them around. Alternative news, ETs is another one, governmental, sovereignty, these will be all mixed up. It's not going to be in the order that I'm saying it in. Also the criminality that's been going on, for how long it's been going on, for thousands of years. So it's going to be good. It'll be good. Hopefully we can get a few listeners from where I am locally in Gisborne and overseas. The point of this show is to spread light to news that doesn't get covered by the mainstream media or everything like that. So, because as you know, the narrative of the mainstream media has been taken over by certain people, because it's been controlled, as you know. We're also going to be talking about just a lot of alternative things and theories. I mean, as I say, once it can be created through imagination, it can be implemented. Also going to be talking about movements as well, and how that can be a thing for the future. So it's going to be good shows. I mean, hopefully, got a few people that I've spoken to and that I've got in the alternative media myself. I won't be dropping names at this stage, but hopefully it's going to be a good show, and this is the first. I've just signed up to this platform, and we're going to be setting up a structure. So hopefully we can gather audience for the future and to how can I put it? To celebrate, that'll be one of the good things once we've passed a lot of the hard things. Will be a celebration, but before a celebration we need to do a lot of education on a lot of things, like how the birth certificates and how that all works. Just a lot of things besides that, and also the interrelationships, transhumanism, paradigm structure, that's the most important one. So a lot of those subjects and more will be covered in future radio shows. As I said, this is just the intro show, and just to give a skim of a lot of subjects we'll be covering, because at the end of the day, I mean, everyone has a story. It's not just about the alternative. It's not just about the mainstream media pushing their narratives and we just go along with it. It's all about getting people's stories out there, because at the end of the day, everyone has a story, including the shy ones to the extroverts and beyond. So it's good to get people's perspectives on things, because everyone has a different perspective based on their upbringing and everything like that, including myself and everybody else. I can't guarantee that I'll resonate with all people, because unfortunately it's not a one-fit-all system. So gradually there is going to be times where I'm going to probably offend a couple of people, which is okay. I mean, my point of doing these shows is to get information out there that I gather from my sources, and also through intuition and actually tuning into frequency or source. So I mean, yeah, I know I'm not going to agree. A lot of people are not going to agree with me, but that's fine. I'm only putting my perspective out there because I can. It'll be good to get a lot of people's perspective, but it has to be also based on fact. Don't, it's do thorough research. That's one advice to give you. And I understand that when it comes to spirituality, and even I've had experiences with it, some of them cannot be explained in layman's terms, because we are multi-dimensional beings at the end of the day. So pretty much, for an example, you might see on the 5D, since we're in the 3D at the moment, it cannot be referenced. So it's all about also keeping an open mind, because, as I said, everyone has a story, and it's also about getting your story out there, because at the end of it, it's not just about me. It's about everybody, and everyone has their own point of view on things, and some groups have similar things. You also get the ones that fall for the mainstream, where they'll just pretty much take whatever the mainstream media says at face value, where you see you've got people like us that do the whole question everything, because it's knowing the difference between binary thinking and trilateral thinking, and there is a difference. Binary thinking is the old traditional Western way of thinking. It's either this or that. You've either got the choice of doing this or the choice of doing that. Where trilateral thinking is, it's sort of seeing those, when they say you've got the option of doing this and that, and it's also thinking, well, what about a third thing? So it's about adding our own our own points in there. Say, for an example, I'll give a typical US survey. Elections, 2016 elections over in the USA was all about, it's between Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. Who's going to get in? Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump. So you see what I mean? It's that binary thinking, where triadal thinkers will be like, well, maybe we want to add in our own person. We might not want either of them, and we might want a third person. So just bear in mind that I am a triadal. I do think triadally. So I don't just fall for the binary. It's either this choice or that choice. Also, I am a lateral thinker rather than a linear thinker, which is a different perspective also, because as you know, the way we perceive time and measure time is a westernized structure of perceiving and measuring time, which is minutes, seconds, hours, days, years, months. In my own traditional culture, we never had days, months, years, anything like that. Also time, minutes, hours, things like that. That's also a westernized way of measuring time, where you see when, as you know, with a lot of say Buddhism cultures or along similar cultures, they don't perceive time in those ways. So it's also just having alternative thinking. It's all about thinking different, because at the end of the day, if you're not going to think different and it's sort of that based on that doing something over and over again and expecting different results. As you know, common sense says that's not logical, because doing the same thing over and over again is going to lead you in the same results. But doing something in a different way, obviously, you'll get a different result. So that's also pushing that sort of thinking through as well. It's all about thinking different at the end of the day. That's why they call us alternative media, because we also talk about news items, and we also throw our perspective in there as well. And we will say, based on some of these shows, if we do say things that we like to put out, it will always be based on my opinion. So it's also knowing the difference when something's based on my opinion or is based on research. And I will say, because obviously you have to say where sources come from. So it's good to reference as well. It's just so people can follow what you're saying, but at the same time, spirituality, a lot of experiences like that cannot be on the internet-fied, because as people know, internet is a 3D thing. So sorry, we had a bit of a temporary, we had a technical glitch, but that's all right. I'll be I'm just at the moment. I started off the show using a web-based console, running a Linux operating system, but that's out of the scope of this. But anyhow, we are going to terminate in about a minute, but for intro one, I like to say welcome along to the show. This is definitely have a name for it in the first show, so it will be broadcasted either once a week or twice, so just keep an eye out for me. You've been listening to Robert E.T., and I hope to hear from you in the future, in 15 minute spurts, or maybe even longer.